one of the things that people with FASD often fail in is reward and consequence systems. And I've never worked in a program that didn't use a reward and consequence system. I really have rarely seen a school setting that does not use a reward and consequence system. A point system, a star system, a sticker system, a level system, a privilege system. If a parent says to a child, when you get your homework done, then you can play Xbox, that's a reward and consequence system. Anytime you start a sentence with if or when, you're setting up a reward and consequence. And we'll talk a little bit about the fact that this, in order to do well with a reward and consequence system, you have to get a sense of historical time and future time, which is an abstract concept. We know that across the IQ span in FASD, there's difficulty with abstract thinking. So you don't get the rewards, and for many people with FASD, they have no idea why they're not getting the rewards. They don't get their points, they don't get their stars, they don't get their stickers, but if you ask them, do you want that reward for getting your point? Oh yeah, I really want that. Do you know what you need to do? I know what I need to do. And they can recite it all, they just can't operationalize it. So let's say there's something where there's going to be a class trip in 2 weeks, and the teacher says to the class, okay class, in 2 weeks we're going on a class trip, and you all need 20 stars to go on your class trip. And goes over with the class what they need to do to get their stars, and do their homework, and sit in class, and do their work in class, and all this. And the kids in the class are getting their stars, and 10 stars, 15 stars, they're working on their stars. And here's Johnny in the class who has, after a week, has 2 stars. And the teacher, of course, sits down and says, Johnny, do you want to go on the class trip next week? Oh, yes, I really want to go on the class trip. That's great, because I really want you to go on this class trip. Let's go over what you need to do. Remember what you need to do to get your stars to go on the class trip. Yep, goes over it. Johnny's really excited about this. 2 days before the class trip comes, Johnny now has 3 stars. The rest of the class has their 20 stars, 25 stars. The day before the class trip, the teacher goes over, tomorrow we're going to go on this class trip, and Johnny, you're going to have to stay with Mrs. So-and-so's class because you don't have enough stars to go on your class trip, on the class trip tomorrow. I'm really sorry. I was hoping you could do that. Okay, teacher. And then the next day for the class trip, the class is lining up for the trip, and who's in line to go on the class trip with the rest of the class? Johnny. And the teacher says, Johnny, it's time for you to go to Mrs. So-and-so's class. Why? Well, because you can't go on the class trip. Why not? Because remember we talked yesterday, you didn't get enough stars. But I was good today. And that's the key red flag that I call it. When you see, but I was good just now. I did what I was supposed to. Why can't I do this? That's an indication of a difficulty with that reward and consequence approach.